Hey everyone, and welcome back to the board meeting. Today I'm going to be doing a quick review and rating of 9 different games I've been playing in the last week or two. Some of these games are getting pretty old, but I do have some new games on this list, so don't you worry. Let's jump into it with one of those old games with Power Grid. Power Grid is an auction bidding game all about managing your money and making efficient moves. You will be bidding to buy different power plants, purchase resources in a fluctuating market, and then spread out your network trying to provide power to the most cities. I've been calling Power Grid Math the board game because you will be having to calculate each and every move you make to be sure you have enough money. I'm going to give this game a solid 7. Not too bad for a game creeping up on its 20th anniversary, and still pretty good every time I play it. Let's go to a newer game, but by no means new, in Terra Mystica. Terra Mystica is a game about building up your cities by terraforming your surrounding areas to fit your color. This game almost has the look of Catan, but think Catan on steroids. This is actually getting pretty old as well, but I had never played it before. My friends who own it had been talking about it for a while, so I got a chance to play it twice with them. This is a pretty abstract game in my opinion, but I really liked it because it is one of those efficiency puzzles that I really enjoy. I'm going to give this game an 8.5, and now I really want to try Gaia Project, which is the re-implementation of Terra Mystica, but looks a bit nicer and more modern with a space theme. Finally, moving on to a 2020 game in Colt Super Express. Colt Super Express is the small filler game version of the bigger game Colt Express. In this game, you will be moving around the train, trying to knock your opponents off while making sure you don't fall victim yourself. Before each round starts, you decide which actions you will take in which order, and then you start revealing them once the round actually begins. This game is hilarious, and the rounds hardly ever go the way you planned. It has become one of the go-to filler games in my collection and a group favorite. I'm actually going to push this game up to a 7.5 rating just because the fun and laughs you get from it in that about 10 minutes that it takes to play. I would suggest it for any group looking for more filler games. The fact this plays up to 7 really helps, and to me, the more players you have playing this, the funner, more chaotic the game is. Now let's go over to the Ravensburger game, Disney Villainous. Disney Villainous is a game when I first got it a year ago that I had high hopes for, simply because I enjoy Disney, but one of my sisters is big into anything that deals with any villains from Disney. So match made in heaven, right? Well, when I played it back then, I didn't enjoy it, and I had shelved it until I decided to give it another go here recently. In Disney Villainous, you take control as one of the villains from Disney, like Captain Hook or Maleficent. Each villain character plays unique to them, and everybody actually has a different goal they need to accomplish to win. The thing about it, though, is I feel the game drags on quite a while and gets pretty monotonous. My first assessment, I believe, stayed true to how I feel about this game still now. I'm going to give Disney Villainous a sad 5 rating, and this is a game that will be getting the boot from my collection once I find a friend that would like it. Let's jump over to the 2020 roll and write version of Medici. Medici the dice game is a super simple, super fast roll and write. I've never played the regular Medici, so this is looking at this game with fresh eyes. I've only played this game solo, so I can't attest to the multiplayer on this, but what I know is this is simple, fast, and I thought it did provide entertainment for me. Once you know what you're doing, you can play this game solo in about 5 to 10 minutes, and I was not disappointed in it. I'm going to give this a solo rating of 7, even if it did not reinvent the wheel, but they sure made the wheel fast and streamlined. So if I'm ever bored and want to play a fast roll and write game, this game would fit that niche for me. Let's move on to a drafting game with Draftosaurus. Draftosaurus is a unique drafting game, not because of how you draft, but because of what you draft. You will be drafting these little meeple dinosaurs and placing them onto your board in specific regions, trying to score yourself points. It is very fast and maybe takes 15 minutes to play. It seems to get some love online from some reviewers I like, but it didn't do anything too great for me other than it is a cute little game. I'm going against the grain with this and giving it a 6.5 rating, and I think I'm going to find a new home for this game as well, which shouldn't be too hard to do. I believe it would be a good game for new gamers, but it just kind of felt very average for me and didn't do anything for me to grab this off the shelf instead of a different drafting game. But now we're jumping over to a brand new released game of Cubitos. Cubitos is a dice building racing game. You begin the game with a pool of dice that aren't the most useful to you, and you slowly build up your dice to more colorful and powerful actions. The first half of the game you can barely move, and by the second half of the game, once you build up your dice a bit, it feels like you were jumping across half the map easily. This is a nice addition into the deck building genre style games. This is one of the first 2021 titles I've gotten to play this year, and it was a nice game to start off with, and I'm going to give this a good 7.5 rating, and I'm pretty excited to explore this game a bit more with my group. Taking a look now at Imperial Settlers Empires of the North. I got Empires of the North to my table this past week finally. I tried out one of the solo scenarios for it. It's a game all about building up your tableau in front of you, and those cards will give you more actions to take or give you certain special abilities for yourself. It almost feels like the worker placement game of Magic the Gathering. You'll be using and tapping different cards, and by the end of it, you have 30 cards in front of yourself, and you will forget about half the abilities you have. I did enjoy it, but maybe not as much as I was expecting since this is a pretty popular game. I'm going to give it a solo rating of 7, but I will be coming back to this game and trying to play as all 6 different clans that come in the base game. Let's move on to the big sprawling game, Mansions of Madness 2nd Edition. Mansions of Madness is a big dungeon crawl type of game set in the Lovecraftian world. This game system was re-implemented recently to make the Lord of the Rings Journeys in Middle-earth game. I got to try out Mansions here this week for the first time, and this game uses dice rather than the deck building aspect that Lord of the Rings uses. I actually enjoyed Mansions more than the Lord of the Rings version, and that's surprising because I'm a big Lord of the Rings guy. I'm going to give this a 7.5 rating, and it's not higher only because this game takes quite a long time. We played a 4-player game, and it took us a little over 3 hours. Still, a 7.5 on a game that takes that long really says it is quite good to me, since I usually don't like any games that take that long. And that will wrap up this review and rating episode and adjourn this meeting. If you enjoyed this content, make sure to like and subscribe to catch more reviews, how to play, lists, and all other sorts of fun videos. I hope you all have an amazing day, and take care, everyone.